Hello, hello. So as a Canadian, you might not do this, but I tend to do this, is like I will just open and start whatever credit cards that are basically offered to me. And I used to think that all cards were basically the same until I realized that I was actually leaving a lot of money on the table just by using the wrong cards or like picking the wrong set of cards. And so today I want to share how I would avoid making that mistake. In this video, we're going to talk about the top 5 credit cards in Canada for 2025, specifically focusing on cashback and points cards. So if you're not getting the right rewards on the cards that you have, I know it might feel like, oh, what a hassle that I have to like switch over these cards, open up new cards, but it can be worth the hassle because the right card can literally pay for a vacation every year or put hundreds of dollars back into your pocket. And it takes, not that much extra effort once you've set it up. If you're new here, my name is Alice and I am a Canadian CPA and I make videos about personal finance on this channel. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and join my newsletter if you'd like to hear more from me. So the biggest question that I would have when it comes to picking a credit card is, should I focus on a cashback credit card or should I focus on collecting rewards or air miles for travel? Now, I think this is something that a lot of people tend to think about when they're trying to pick a new card or decide on what cards to use, and you're playing the reward game, right? So here's a breakdown between the two. With cashback cards, you get immediate tangible value, and there tends to be like no expiration dates or blackout periods, and it's really simple and easy to use, okay? It's cashback, it's just a percentage of what you're spending, and it's typically around 1% to 2% in Canada that we get. If you spend at least $10,000 on your credit card every year, that's, $100 to $200 of just cash back, right? The cash in your pocket. Who doesn't like getting cash back? Now, if you travel frequently, then you should definitely consider air miles as well. There tends to be higher potential value, which can be like up to 2 to 5%. Air miles in Canada don't expire, but you have to, in order to stay active, redeem at least 1 mile every 2 years. But sometimes, how it is with air miles, it can be, your ability to redeem the air mile can be restricted to the participating airline and the destinations offered. And the only downside with air miles is that, there's nothing more annoying than having all of these points and then not really knowing or not being able to redeem the exact flight for the exact trip that you want. So if you're trying to decide between the two, you can think about these deciding factors. The first is you might want to consider cashback if you're spending less than 30 grand a year annually on credit. And cashback is good if you rarely travel or you're like more of a domestic traveler and you just want the simplicity and guaranteed value. I actually prefer cashback cards myself. Air miles are definitely worth it if you travel a lot. Okay, if you travel at least internationally once a year and you're kind of like organized enough to track the points and optimize your redemptions, air miles can obviously be really good. If you are spending $3,000 a month on your credit card or $36K a year, a top cashback card, which is around 2% on average, would give you $720 back. A top air miles card would give you between $900 to $1,400 back in travel value. That's between like 2 to 4%. Air miles only work though if you're actually using the points strategically, right? There's nothing worse, again, than collecting all these air miles for years and years and then not really using them or using them inefficiently, and then it ends up being worse value than a credit card. Okay, so here are the top 3 cashback cards for Canadians as of 2025. The third runner-up is the Tangerine money back credit card. You get 2% on 2 customizable chosen categories. I like this flexibility that you can actually like pick what categories you're choosing on, whether that's groceries, restaurant, gas, furniture, and then it's 0.5% on everything else. And right now they have a welcome offer where it's 10% cashback award up to $100. The annual fee for this card is $0. Great. The best categories or the most commonly used categories are probably going to be groceries, gas, and restaurant. The reason why I'm recommending this card is that there's no fee, it's simple to use, and it's really good for focused spending because you get to pick what category that you're allocating your points to. But I guess the con is that it is just limited to 2 categories and you get a low rate on other purchases. So this one's really good for students or light spenders who want no annual fee, and really good for like strategic spending, I would say. In second place is the Scotia Momentum Visa Infinite. So the cashback rate on this card is 4% on gas and groceries, okay, up to $25,000, 2% on gas and daily transit, and 1% on everything else. I think 4% on gas and groceries is really, really good. They do have an annual fee though, okay? So you do have to make sure that whatever cashback reward you're getting exceeds the annual fee for it to make sense for you. And right now they do have a welcome bonus where they waive the first year fee and offer a $100 cashback. I think the biggest pro with this card is that you get a really, really high rate on everyday spending, and there's no caps on most categories, but there is that annual fee, and it also requires a $60,000 household income. But this one is really good for families with high grocery and gas spending. And then the number one card on this list is the Rogers Red MasterCard. Now, this one actually used to be a black card, like black in color, and it used to be called the Rogers World Elite MasterCard, but they've changed it now and it's called the Rogers Red. So the good thing with this one is if you are a Rogers, Fido, or Shaw customer, okay, because what you do is you get 2% back on all US purchases and 2% on non-US purchases. It's not really capped by category, but more just like US dollar versus non-US dollar. If you are not a Rogers, Fido, or Shaw customer, then it's 2% on US purchases and 1% on everything else. So this one's really, really good if you spend US dollars a lot. And you do get additional points if you redeem your points for Rogers, Fido, or Shaw purchases. So there's no annual fee with this one, which is really, really good. But in order to get the maximum benefit of the card, you too have to be a Rogers or Fido customer. I think this one's really good for people who just want simplicity, maybe travel internationally. You can use it for everything except groceries and gas. And so I like this Rogers card. I think that if you used it for everything else except groceries and gas, and then use the Scotia card for groceries and gas, through a combination of these two cards, you can get an average return of 2 to 3% on all of your spending. But I think the key with these cashback cards and playing the rewards game in general is just make sure you pick what makes sense for your own situation, and don't choose a card just because it has the highest rate in a category if you're not even gonna get the value out of that category. So speaking of maximizing your credit card rewards, I want to take a few minutes to thank the sponsor of today's video, Chexy, which might really be a game changer for how you use credit cards as a Canadian. So Chexy is a Canadian company that allows Canadians to pay all major expenses with any credit card, even if it's an expense that normally wouldn't accept credit cards. So you can pay your rent, your tax bill, and your property taxes with Chexy and get rewards for it with your credit card. And this is how it works. If you sign up for an account, all you have to do is add your bill payee or your rental information, select a due date, add your credit card, so whether that's a card that you currently have or it's one of these cards that I'm mentioning today, and then your payment gets sent depending on the payout method that you selected. If your landlord wants to be paid by Interac e-transfer, pre-authorized debit, or bill pay, they will be paid how they want. But you get to earn the rewards on a payment that you were already going to make. Okay, so for example, if your rent amount is $2,000 a month, and you paid with an Amex Cobalt card, which I'm going to mention in a second, that's earning you 2,000 points every month. The fee that Chexy charges is 1.75%, so your total rent payment would end up being $2,035. But that's 2,035 points, additional points per month, or 24,420 points a year, which can be worth between $240 to $480 in travel rewards. So if you transfer these rewards to Aeroplan, again, using the $2,000 rent example, you're paying rent with your credit card, you can get a trip from Toronto to Spain, Toronto to Miami, Vancouver to Dallas, and many other destinations. Chexy also has a wonderful calculator on their website that you can use to calculate spending to reward and what kind of travel that you can get out of it. Another example using cashback cards. So let's say that you're using the Scotia Momentum card that I mentioned earlier. So that's 4% cashback. If you used Chexy to process your purchases again, they charge 1.75, but you're getting 4% on cashback on your purchase, you end up netting 2.25%. Okay, and you still come out ahead. So why I like Chexy, you can use it for rent, you can use it to pay your tax bill, your property taxes. I think it's a huge game changer in the Canadian credit card space, and basically allows Canadians to earn points on purchases that they would never make themselves. Even bigger game changer for small businesses, because Chexy allows you to put all of your major vendor bills, payroll, and large corporate expenses on your credit card. So if you want to start collecting rewards on purchases that you would never be able to collect rewards on, make sure you check out Chexy using my link in the description. Now back to those credit card strategies. Next, we're going to talk about air miles cards or points cards. So if you've decided that air miles are right for you because you travel enough for it to make sense for you, then here are a couple of cards that really deliver value. Coming up in second place is the TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite. So the earn rate on this card is 1.5 points per dollar on eligible gas, electrical vehicle charging, and grocery, as well as any direct Air Canada purchases. And then 1 point per dollar on everything else. The annual fee is $139. You do have to have at least 60K personal income or 100K annual household income. And they also offer a lot of different welcome bonuses, including the ability to waive that annual fee if you spend on certain categories in the first year. But the reason why I recommend this card is that there are a lot of travel perks to it, okay? First of all, your first checked bag with Air Canada is free. They also offer travel insurance, trip cancellation, and it's just overall pretty strong Aeroplan earning. And you also get an application fee rebate when you apply for Nexus as well. But the points are tied to Air Canada. It's good for Air Canada travelers. Every day that Air Canada doesn't fly, it's a $61 million loss to revenue. So that's like almost $200 million. $200 million just because Air Canada flight attendants went on strike. Anyways, I strongly prefer not flying Air Canada, but it always tends to be the cheapest option when it comes up. So the other day we took our kid to the summer fair, and then there's all these like fair games, where, like kids, they play those games and then they win the stuffed animals. And then we saw there was like one stand that had all of these like Pokemon plushies and toys. My kid noticed them and was like pointing at them, and we saw the Pikachus there as well, but we knew that they weren't the authentic Pikachus. And it reminded me and Kevin of when we went to the official Pokemon store in Tokyo many, many years ago. This is when we were still dating, just to get our hands on an official Pikachu. This guy right here still has a tag on it. We never took it off. And to prove to you that it is official, the warning tag is in Japanese. Also, this thing was like $100 US, but it's authentic. You know how like sometimes you see like the fake Pikachus and then like the eyes are off and stuff like that. You just like tell it's not like the authentic one because of like IP rights and stuff like that. But we've been to the official store in Japan and we know what a real Pikachu is and what a fake Pikachu is. This guy here has been sitting in our basement for years. I made Kevin dig it up the other day. Pikachu. Our kid doesn't even understand what it means to have a real and official Pikachu, okay? He's so spoiled. He doesn't even know that we had to work hard to save money to go on that trip just so we can buy it for him. He doesn't even know what Pokemon is yet, actually. Okay, I went on a bit of a tangent there. Let's give a drum roll for card number 1. It's the American Express Cobalt card. Amex Cobalt is the best earning card in Canada. Now, it was never really recommended as a travel card, but it is a card for earning points to use to travel. The reason why it's the number 1 is because of the earn rate. It's the best earn rate that you can get as a Canadian. 5 times points per dollar on groceries and restaurants, 3 times points on streaming services, 2 times points on gas, transit, and rideshare, and 1 times on everything else. Now, because they offer such great points, there is an annual fee, and it's kind of weird because it's charged monthly. So it used to be $12.99. It still is $12.99 right now, but in November, it's actually going up to $15.99. But they do have a really good welcome bonus. You actually get up to $15,000 of reward points if you spend up to $750 on your card in your first year as a card holder, which really isn't that much. So it's basically 15,000 free points. So it's incredible earning rates on everyday spending, flexible redemption. The con with this card is that Amex is not accepted everywhere in Canada, and the monthly fee structure thing is kind of annoying. So the most important thing is like if you do get this card and you plan on spending it, just like make sure that you check that the places that you spend your money at actually take Amex, especially if it's a bigger purchase. But this one is really good for high spenders that want maximum flexibility. So with the Amex Cobalt, if you spend $500 a month on groceries and restaurants, you're earning 5,000 points monthly just on groceries and restaurants. That ends up being $60,000 of points per year, which can be between $600 to $1,200 of rewards, depending on how you redeem them. So the Amex Cobalt is a favorite for a lot of people because it's a really good rate. But choose it if you're committed to using the points for travel because the monthly fee is pretty high. Now, when it comes to credit cards, just a couple of personal finance tips here. There are some hidden costs and mistakes that we generally want to avoid. Credit cards, as great as they are, they can also be a double-edged sword if you are racking up a balance. So I want to make sure that we are all using credit cards responsibly. Okay, the first mistake. So where best possible, I always recommend, not carrying a balance because credit card interest rates are anywhere between 19 to 29% in Canada. And so like if that's even $1,000 balance, over 1 year, you're paying $200 of interest. And just that interest can basically wipe out years of rewards instantly. And the second mistake is that you don't meet the minimum spend or whatever it is that's required to spend to get the welcome bonus for many cards. Because a lot of welcome bonuses, make you spend a couple $1,000s in the first couple months. But if you miss this, you end up losing a couple $100s in value. And so it doesn't really make sense to even open the card in the first place. So apply if you can naturally meet the requirement without forcing it to happen. And then another mistake is like not thinking about or ignoring foreign transaction fees. A lot of cards, let's say that you buy something from like Amazon.com or you drive down to the States, a lot of cards charge 2.5% on foreign purchases. So on a $3,000 vacation, that could be $75 in fees. So choose cards with no foreign transaction fees for travel. And if you are really into like racking up the points and using this reward system, just remember that Aeroplan points do expire after 18 months of inactivity. American Express MR points don't expire, but they also can be devalued over time. And when it comes to deciding between a card versus the annual fee, we want to make sure that like it's a good idea, maybe a rule of thumb, to make sure that the rewards that you're getting are exceeding the fee by at least 2 times. So if a card does have a $120 fee, I think that you want to at least earn at least $240 in value to make it make sense or worth opening the card in the first place. Because even with the best credit card strategy, the best credit cards available, it doesn't end up being worth that much if you're paying a ton of money of interest or you're missing out on bonuses due to poor planning. So to summarize this video, I think the number one best cashback card in Canada is the Rogers World Elite, especially if you are already a Rogers, a Fido, or Shaw customer. And then for air miles, it would be the Amex Cobalt. But the most important thing to remember is that when picking or choosing a card, make sure you pick one that actually matches your actual spending habits and your lifestyle. Don't just choose a card because it's got all these points and rewards and it's good on paper. Choose it based on how you actually live and spend money. So any rewards that you get on spending are literally a bonus, not something that's gonna like hurt you financially or be a bad financial decision. But having the right cards is just one piece of the puzzle. Your credit utilization, payment history, and credit mix also play a part in your credit score as well, which affects everything from mortgage rates to rental applications. I always preach financial responsibility, so just make sure you think about your credit score as well at all times. If you like this video today, you're gonna love my other video on how to save money on your taxes as a Canadian. In that video, I give you all of the CPA tips and strategies on ways that you can cut back on your personal tax liability. I know that nobody wants to pay more taxes unless they absolutely have to, so make sure you check out that video up top there. Let me know down in the comments below which one of these is your favorite credit card, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until next time.